Mysdiggi, Mystro, Killer Hip Hop. You're here today. Yo, give him a little intro. Tell him hello.
My name is Mystro, aka Mysdiggi, the natural born spitter that'll run up in your house just to take a crap in your dinner.
And if someone runs up in your house to take a crap in your dinner, you're in trouble. This is the man that will do it. He's just told everyone. Yo, tell us a little something about what's going on now for Mysdiggi.
Oh man, right now I'm just promoting the album I just dropped. It's called Mystrogen. It's like oxygen, except you need it a whole lot more. And the front cover looks something like this. It's a whole load of pills, because I know that's what you lot are into nowadays, isn't it?
For the drug addicts out there that take pills and stuff, they need that Mystrogen fix in their veins. What can they expect from this hit?
Oh man, from this hit, first of all, you get that rush and you realize what you want. All of a sudden, you're hooked. You know what I mean? You feel like sometimes you feel like things ain't right, but you're gonna notice how weird your neighbors are. You're gonna look at the nation in a whole different way. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch on there, man. But it's basically an album that I constructed over the last few years. And it's exactly what I wanted to give people. You know, the idea behind Mystrogen was obviously it being like a drug. And the music is a drug. And, you know, I'll just try my best to make it something that real hip-hop lovers can get hooked on. So, you know, you're going to hear, there's not too many, like, rapper features on there because I didn't want it to be something like that. It's actually my debut album. So, you know, I wanted to make sure that it was me, my voice was on there, and people knew that I'm capable of bringing you a long player that's entertaining, that's informal, as well as something, you know, different from what all the other drugs you lot have been messing your mind up with.
You've been in the game for a very, very long time. Everybody that's foundation in hip hop knows Mystro's name.
Yeah, I don't say very, I just say very.
Not two verys, just one very. All right. So being in for specifically a very long time, why did it take you so long to put out your debut official LP?
Man, you know what? It's been a mixture of, say, like, you know, the production side of it not being where I want it to be, not having the sort of time and space that I wanted to put it all together in the way that I wanted, as well as like working on other projects at the same time on the side. So whether it be featuring with people or doing other EPs, because in the space that I sort of started putting it together, or like from the first song, I probably dropped like 3 EPs. I did the Digma Freud, I did the F the Tax Man, and then the 3, you know, what type of drug is Mystrogen, kind of letting people know what type of drug it is, I guess. And then, yeah, obviously. And you tell I ain't had my Mystrogen today, right? And then, yeah, so it's a case of all those things sort of getting in the way. And then I did actually have the album recorded last year, and I wanted to release it for around July, I think it was July or August. But then there was a hiccup with, you know, sort of the production side of it. And so we just had to make sure that was right. And then rather than releasing it prematurely, you know, sort of in December or something like that, when people wouldn't really, it might go over people's heads or whatever, I just felt like waiting for the right time. And then it felt like now I wanted to make sure it got out this year. And luckily I managed to do that. And so now it's all in all your digital stores. And the CD's going to be available from sort of mid-October from Mysdiggi.com. That's MYSDIGGI.com. And yeah, and a whole bunch of other record stores as well, man. So yeah.
Right, so since you've been doing it for a very long time, and this is your first, just one very specific then, this is your first long player, like, what have you been doing, like, outside of recording? What have you been doing in the business?
Bruv, I've done all kind of weird stuff. I've done like plays, you know, I've worked in the theatre for a musical. I've done workshop stuff like here and in Australia, you know, as well as all the performing stuff. I've done, you know, I've written for like BlackBerry. I've done a viral advert for BlackBerry, then done like a song for a charity. Like they basically, to get them funding, it was to do with education, you know, sort of education for people that might have just come out of prison or had quite a hard life, and they need a bit more tutoring on how to get a job and that kind of thing. So I wrote a song for this charity that were pushing towards the banks to kind of invest in what they were doing. And so we did that, and then we did a video for it as well. Just all weird kind of, you know, because of the whole creative writing side, I think I'm lucky that I get asked to do, you know, sort of weird jobs that not everybody might be able to do and whatnot. Yeah, different stuff, you know.
That's cool. So you mentioned Australia and stuff. How do you find yourself in Australia? Because I did my homework a little bit. I had to check out, and I said you've done a few festivals in Australia. How do you manage to find yourself there?
I got, like, first of all, I think it was Shorty Blitz. Yeah, Shorty Blitz, he kind of suggested to a guy that wanted to bring out UK acts that he should bring me out. Because at the time I was still quite up and coming, as well as, like, I could do a show. I'll just bring a CD and could do the show, as opposed to, like, it's quite expensive to fly people out to Australia and New Zealand and whatnot from here. And so it is kind of easier bringing a guy that could just come with his CD, give it to the DJ, hey, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So it was a gradual thing from there. The first time I went out there, it was like, you know, I made a little change, but it was just, it covered what, you know, me spending out there and whatnot. And but because I kind of worked with a few different people and featured with some of the right artists out there that were, you know, kind of making a bit of noise. And what happened with me was that I featured with I think it's about 4 different people, you know, like from different areas in Australia. And then luckily for me, they all released their albums the same year. So it's like, well, bam, oh, Mystro's on there. Oh, bam, oh, yeah, Mystro's on that video, bro. You know what I mean? It was just a whole lot of that. And I think that kind of helped with me getting back out there again, because then I'd be touring with Brain Tax or whatever, and then I'd stay for, you know, we'd do his tour for a month, then I'd stay for just holiday for a month, and then I'd do a solo tour the next month, or I might go out there and do workshop stuff, or the people that I'd featured with were doing tours, so they'd bring me out there to tour with them, you know, all that kind of thing was keeping it going. So I think that's where I ended up going out. I think I've been there about 11 times or something like that. And then New Zealand about 7 times. Yeah, and even with no manager or nothing, no, you know what I mean?
That's something that is well known, that you don't have a manager, you don't have a label, you just are doing this thing real solo. How do you work your way around the business like that?
I think, you know, like, I think, like, there's part of it is, like, not being afraid to say, this is how much it's going to cost, or this is, you know, I need this if you want me to do that. And then another part of it is also kind of, well, it's the same thing, but coming from, you know, where I've come from is like, we had to hustle anyway. We had to, yeah, so you had to learn how to, whatever you were doing, become a business. If you know, buying your own clothes from like the age of 12 or 13, you got there's something there that's going to click and make you realize, right, I can use this money to do that, and I can count, you know what I mean, £100 quicker than somebody else can or whatever. And so all of that was probably part of it, in terms of like making sure that I could maintain what I was doing. But I didn't start doing that until I didn't drop. Well, I think I had a job, and I made sure I didn't leave that job until I knew that I was actually making money from this. And that was, you know, a few years into it, because it's a scary thing, you know. And I can't even talk about some of the stuff, but, you know, it's a scary thing, sort of just jumping into a world where now this is going to become your business, you know what I mean? And you haven't gone to college to study business in that sense or whatnot, so you got to learn as much as you can. And through, on the job, and through that, I've definitely been jerked here and there. You know, I've had to deal with people that were sort of taking advantage of my lack of knowledge of the business, but then gradually learned that, and now I feel a lot more knowledgeable about what I'm in, you know, like the market that I'm in and whatnot. So I think that's part of that's part of sort of the maintenance.
Do you think you'll ever get or need a manager?
Yeah, there's a point, like now I feel like I need a manager, but I'm still managing to, you know, maintain, get out there, getting out there and whatnot. But basically, for an artist out there, you never need a manager until it's way too much for you to handle. But some people, that thin line of when it is too much for you to handle, some people don't realize that, you know what, you can handle that. You've just got to sort of write this out. You've got to really make it work for how your mind works, you know what I mean? there's gonna be a point where you can't keep answering the phone all the time, or you know, yeah, or you're doing it like, you know, I was just doing an interview now, and that's why. So we'll come in here and then I'm like, bruv, I've got to do another interview now. I can't really carry on with this. I've got to go now. Or am I going to be silly and go, yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, and realize it's like an hour later or whatever, you know what I mean? And so there's things like that your manager will be like, look, we've got to go now. We've got to go and do this other one. You've got to be able to do that, you know? Time managing, yeah, and a manager is a whole lot of things. People think the manager is just the dude that says, yeah, no, like, I manage the artist, like, it's my card, fam, yeah.
Negotiate a deal.
Yeah, like, but there's a whole lot more. Managing is actually managing your life. They're more or less like,
they told you when to get up.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of stuff. And you should be able to do that for yourself anyway, to a certain extent. Like, fair enough, there's a point where you might have 10 people you got to deal with per day, but when it gets to that point where it's 50 people, or then, you know what, I need a manager for this, because I need to still be able to create the music. And that's the slight point I'm at now, is where I want to create the music, I want to create the videos and all of that stuff, but at the same time I've got to make sure that this admin side or this business side is still being run the way it should be. So now I'm feeling like, okay, I think I need to reel in a manager out there, a trustworthy one though, you know.
We'll talk about something that everybody knows is a hot topic: your end of year wrap up. It's becoming legendary, and the skills one was something that was already a legendary thing, and it was something that we looked to it over there, but now with the help from you, we have our own one. What made you do the wrap up?
Well, I got asked by Manny to do it. Manny Norte. He was like, yeah, do a wrap up, and yeah, he was saying that I think you should, you know, we think that you should be the one to do it. And I was like, man, do a wrap up. And then I was checking out, I always checked out the skills ones, but that day I sat down and watched all of them, and I was like, really, you know, like, it's just that I don't really follow like the sort of commercial world, like what's on the TV and the radio, as much as I should if I'm going to be doing the wrap ups. So I didn't think that I could do it, but then I realized that I could just ask around, you know. I could like, hey, what happened this year? Or Google even, you know, like all of that kind of stuff. And then I realized that, so I was like, nah, I don't want to do it at first. But then later on, I was like, nah, but hold on, once a year, and yeah, you might get played on the, and I was like, yeah, actually, all right, then, fuck it, let me do it. I can swear. F it, mom. I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should do it, because it'll be fun anyway. And, you know, I kind of laugh at a lot of the stuff out there. So now I can kind of say, you know, the little jokes that, yeah, laugh at it. And everyone else have fun with it. And at the same time, you know, the thing with the skills one was always that there'll be a whole chunk of it. Sometimes it'll be like 80% you like, I don't know who he's talking about. I don't know all the basketball players, all the American football players, and, you know, all the kind of, all the sports sides, yeah. And then there's like, you know, real like, yeah, like you're saying, Z-listers out there that you like, I don't know who that is and whatnot. So sometimes it felt like a majority of the tune you couldn't even relate to, as much as you wanted to enjoy it. And so doing a UK version, especially now that, you know, in the last 10 years anyway, like the UK scene has really been making a lot of noise all over the radio and TV and whatnot. So there's a lot to talk about. And it also brings, I think it kind of brings us all together and makes people know that this, at the end of the day, there's this style of music, that style of music. These people talk about this, or, you know, whatever, but it's all under the umbrella of, you know, being something that we're part of, you know what I mean? And so I think that helps. And it was a good way to kind of, I could talk about, there's probably some hip-hop cats that I was talking about that some of the grime lot didn't know about, or vice versa, you know what I mean? And even in the sort of pop world and whatnot, just bringing that all together, which is, it's all part of what we're about. You know, you might go to whatever night and everyone's under that roof, but not realizing, you know what I mean? But now they're all watching the wrap up and going, oh yeah, I remember that guy. I saw that guy in there. So yeah, it was that thing. And I just felt like, yeah, it's a good way for me as an underground artist, independent. It's a good way for me to remind people, you can't do it the way I can.
Has anybody ever like taken offense to anything you said, or said, Mystro, I'm not happy about that.
They probably did, but they didn't say nothing to me, so that's their problem, innit? Like, if the thing is, like I said, everything I say on there is the truth, and I kind of double and triple check. Yeah. People might tell me something, and I'll Google it just to make sure, because there have been things that people have mentioned, and it was the year before, or you know, it might not have been the way that they've mentioned. You know, I'll even call up people. I think I called Wiley's manager. Yeah, I called up Wiley's manager because I was like, look, I want to mention this whole thing about the. What was it when he uploaded his zip files or whatever? But I don't want to get it wrong. And because I know you, like, I get it from the horse's mouth. And when he told me, I was like, I go, all right, I'll say it like this then, because it's not as bad as everyone made out. You know what I mean? It wasn't as, yeah, exactly. So that's another thing as well. And I don't want anything like that to, I'll do it for the entertainment factor most of all, is because it is fun to do. Definitely. That's the first thing. And then secondly, it's a good way for, like I said, for me to keep my name out there.
Moving on, what's happening with Natural Born Spitters? Is there still there?
Yeah. The Spitters are still there, man. I mean, basically what happened was Jargon, he kind of, you know, something happened to him for a while, and he lost his memory a little bit, and so it's all going to be explained very soon. We're just putting together, you know, the presentation, and then we can let people know exactly what happened, and then from there they'll know what's going on with the Jargon show. You know what I mean?
So for the future, what's in store for Mystro?
Right, what's in store is Mystrogen. Exactly. So the future is going to be the forgotten future, the next album I'm working on. But for now, over the course of the next few months, I just want to pump out as much sort of material and, you know what I mean, like entertainment value for the album. And so you're going to see a lot more videos. I just dropped a video called That Rush that I edited. Yeah, check KillerHipHop.co.uk for that. It's all edited by myself. I filmed it, yeah, most of it myself as well. And so it feels good to be kind of getting into that world as well. I didn't think that I could do it, but then when I pulled it off, it was like, man, yeah, once you get into it, it's really cool. So I want to do a lot more videos as well. And it's, you know, obviously get the comedy thing out there. And you see a bunch of skits. If you check out my YouTube, which is youtube.com/Mysdiggi, MYSDIGGI again, and you'll see what I'm talking about, man.
Cool, man. Mr. Mystro.
Yo, thanks for having me, man, and thanks for doing what you lot do, man. Big up Killer Hip Hop UK, because you know, there's not many out there that do as much work as these guys do, and especially the fact that what you got to look out for is blogs that have their own content, and these guys definitely have that. Not a lot of blogs have their own content. What they do is just post what everybody else is posting. So look out for that, man. Your favorite blogger might not be doing that the way they should be, mother lovers. And follow at Mysdiggi.
At Mysdiggi. Don't forget that. At KillerHipHop UK. Boom. Wicked.
Yeah. What's going on, mother lovers? This is Mystro, aka Mysdiggi, out the Natural Born Spitters, and I'm right here with Killer Hip Hop UK. You fast.